I'm going to create a video to show you how to populate the co-op database. All right, so first thing I want to do, we've got PG admin 4. I have the database here. Way up here is the farm co-op. I've gone down here to schemas and public, and I've opened up the tables to show you that I have all the tables are set up. All right, so now what we want to do is populate them with data. Just as a heads up, I already have, but I'm going to show you the process. Anyway, I just won't run it. So up here where I go to Farm Co-op, I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a query tool. Now I'm going to go to the modules and Canvas here, and there is a SQL to populate the co-op database. And I'm going to copy all of this. So I'm going to explain it all, but you're not going to have to do much. You'll have a couple of things to add, but so this is the basic setup for I'm going to make this just a tiny bit bigger. This is the basic setup for an insert statement. You do insert into, you list the table you want to insert into. Come on, I just want to select that. So you're going to insert into person. You list all the fields you're going to insert into. And I didn't insert, if we go down here and look at person, the one column I did not use is the person ID, and that's because it's automatically numbered. All right. So then you have values, and you have Low and George. Notice that these are in single quotes. Text values have to be in single quotes. And our phone numbers, even though they're numbers sort of, are also text, so they are in single quotes. And dates are in single quotes. And it prefers this date format, although it may work in others. All right, now this is the basic pattern. You can insert more than one row into a single table by just separating them with commas. So what we're doing here is we are inserting all of these into person. All right, I'm not going to run it. As I said, I probably won't run it at all, but I'm not going to run it yet. So this is the same thing. Insert into address. Now here person ID is a foreign key. And this is a little dangerous, and it could give you problems. I assume that all the numbers work fine. And so when I do the person IDs, I just do them in order. Right? This is the one that has 2 addresses. So, as I said, it's a little dangerous because if anything goes wrong up here, the numbers might be out of sync. But that's the foreign key that ties the address to the person table. And then I'm inserting into the co-op member, which has the person ID and the last date of last renewal. And again, I'm being a little risky by using the numbers that I think were generated rather than being sure of that. And then it has the date. The supplier and the supplier ID is basically the same thing. Job type, just list the various job types. This is the job type, this is the description, job type, description, etc. I'm inserting into employee, and again, it's just making sure that I have the person ID. I'm assuming that it's all good. Same thing for the employee ID and the job type ID. This one I want you to note in particular because this is close to your assignment. Here I'm inserting into purchase, and I'm purchasing, I'm doing a date, and then I'm doing the supplier ID and the employer ID. Again, I'm just assuming those numbers, although you could look them up. So, and the way that you would look them up is well, you would just select, but actually at this point you don't really know. So I'm going to insert into the purchase detail. This time I'm doing this right after this. This is how you do a primary key if you don't want to just guess it, and it's safer. Curval is a function that finds the most recently generated auto number in a table. This one is in purchase. It's for the purchase ID field, and it's a sequence. It's sort of explained up here. Red delicious apples. The units are pounds. There are 20 quantity, and this is the price per unit. I do a comma, and I do the same thing over for each row. Each row in the purchase detail, each individual thing is going to be its own row, but they will all share the purchase ID. Same again. So now I do another purchase, insert into purchase, and then I'm going to insert into the purchase detail. Each one of these items will share the purchase ID from this. And then you can insert into purchase again, and this one only has one row to insert. All right, and then there's the inventory. But as I said, I'm going to have you insert into sale and sale detail, and it is really close, almost identical to purchase and purchase detail. All right, so you can run all of these. What I would do is make sure nothing is selected. Go up here, push that and run. I'm not going to because I've already put the data in. But all you have to do, as long as nothing is selected, it'll run the whole script. And if you click on that, it will run everything. One way you can tell, I'm just going to come to the end of this script, and I'm going to say like select star from person. That's your jumping around. And then I will highlight just this statement, and I will run that. And you can see that all the people are there. And then I will do select star from co-op member. And you can see that they are all there. The ones that are most useful for us, I'm going to say select star from purchase. So we're going to see all the purchase entries. So we've got 3 purchase entries, 1, 2, and 3. There's the supplier ID and the employer ID as foreign keys. And then let's do select star from purchase detail. All right, so notice that all 3 of these share the same purchase ID. Each has its own row, and each has its own purchase detail ID, but they're all part of purchase 1. These 3 are all part of purchase 2, and then 3 is its own purchase all by itself. We have the units, we have the quantity, and we have the purchase price for the units. All right, so as I said, the sale and sale detail is very, very similar, and that will be the part that I want you to do. So I think this is all you need to know. Just to repeat again, insert into the table that you want, list all the fields you want to insert into, and then the values. The other thing that I should mention is that these have to be in exactly the same order as these. So Low goes to last name, George goes to first name, email, phone, date added. It won't object if you mix them up. If you put the email into the first name, it would find that just fine. It would just say, it would just list that because they're the same data type. The only time it complains is if the data types are different. The other thing for addresses, I want to show one other thing. Notice that we have nulls here. So everybody that doesn't have an address 1 you can put null there. Null means it's an unknown value. It doesn't exist. This 10 is one that has address 1. All right, so null is what you do when you want to leave something empty. You can only do that if when you design the table you said that it could be nullable. All right, which is actually the default, so you have to say it's not null to change it. All right, I think that's all. Just looking at the script to see if there's anything else. I did mention that sometimes if these screw up, it's easier to drop the database, recreate it, and run the script again than it is to try to fix things. All right, so hopefully this helps.